My former roommate, Boxer Sekani, here with me.
Let's go.
Sekani, for 40 days straight leading up to your final fight, you were posting every single day. Could you tell us how that process transformed your views on life?
Yeah. Over the past summer before the school year, or just for a little context, I'm part of the USC boxing team. So every time I leave to go home, I don't really box much. So I went home, I didn't work out at all, I just kind of rested. And the way my mind works is in seasons. And so I knew that once I came back to school, I really wanted to attack something, like to put in a lot of work into something. And boxing felt like that outlet because for more context, I've had 4 boxing fights total. One, the recent one, 40 days leading up. The first 3, which I lost. But I didn't lose them because it was a skill issue or whatever. I feel like I lost because I wasn't prepared enough, because I didn't train enough. And so with this 4th fight, my goal was to be as prepared as possible, no matter what, and to keep myself accountable. And so I was thinking, like, what's the best way to do that? And then I had already had a social media for a little bit before that. And so I decided, coming to school, to upload every single day before my fight. So once I got my fight date, I started a series that was like 39 days until my boxing fight, 38 days. So I just record my practice and talk over it. And yeah, I had my fight. I ended up losing because of an injury. So during the second round,
dislocated shoulder.
Yeah, my shoulder got dislocated. But before my fight, I think it definitely paid off. Like, the days leading up were definitely stressful, but after I weighed in, there were a couple hours between my fight and my weigh-in where I just felt calm. I didn't feel stressed. I didn't feel pressured. I was really excited to get in the ring.
And do you think the content contributed to that, or it was more of just your training? Because of your build-up, do you think that played a role?
I think it was both, in the sense that it was definitely the training. I felt more prepared. But also because of the content, it was on my mind that this point in time was the point in time when I would do something. So my brain, my body, for the past 40 days had been preparing for this moment subconsciously. And I think that was also a piece of it that led, I just felt like at ease.
How'd you get into boxing in the first place?
Yeah, before college, I didn't box at all before college. And I had gone to the gym a lot. I was like a kind of a gym rat, a gym goer, and I would lift every single day. And I got to college and I was just a little bit bored of it. And I thought, what is something that could fill the holes in my fitness? It was more about fitness, because I needed more core strength, I needed better cardio, and I wanted to be skilled at something. And I always wanted to try combat sports. And boxing was the only combat sport that offered competition. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna sign up for this, I'm gonna compete. But yeah, it was a journey. I was really, really bad when I started, because I was so big, you know, I was bulky. I would just get beat up.
Why? Because you were moving slow? Or?
Partially. It was a couple things, like, because I was so wide, it was hard for me to, when you box, you're supposed to be bladed, so you show the least amount of, like, you're supposed to face your opponent with your shoulder to show,
really? Okay.
yeah, so they can't punch you. But I'm so wide, and I was even wider before, that 1, I wouldn't turn my shoulder, and 2, I'd just like be like this, and they could hit me all over. They could hit me through my guard and all this stuff, and I was slow, I was big, I was bulky, I had bad cardio. My coach just this year said, like, wow, like, you're really moving like a boxer. Like, for the past 1.5 years, you've moved like a bodybuilder. Now you finally look like a boxer. I was like, okay, score. It took me a year, though.
Oh, the training paid off.
Yeah.
But that's so interesting, though. So, because with your build, you never thought of other sports like rugby or football,
Yeah.
where your build could, you could say, like, directly more translate into it more.
No, it's true. But it was never a thought for me, because for me, it was never about, like, necessarily winning or losing. I wasn't trying to become pro at anything. For a little bit, I did want to be a pro MMA fighter, only for like 6 months, 5 months.
MMA.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But
I remember our
remember
conversations
when I was always
about
talking about
the
that?
UFC and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Documenting the journey to become the UFC fighter.
Yeah. Wow. That's OG.
Because you did.
Yeah.
Well, when I say content, because I do remember every part of your boxing journey is kind of tied with your content journey.
Yeah.
Starting with YouTube.
Yeah.
You
I've
know,
been at it for a while.
Yeah, and you started with the King's Path or whatever.
Well, I didn't start with the King's Path. I started with like these vlogs on
Oh, okay.
YouTube. Oh my gosh, they were so bad. I didn't have a mic at all.
Okay.
So I would just be talking and talking for like 8-minute stretches and you couldn't understand any of it. But then
because the audio was so bad.
it was so bad. The angles were bad. My angles are still not great, but it was pretty bad. Then I did the King's Path, which is where I tried to upload every day, but like no one watched it. It was so funny. I should look back at those. Those are so like, it's just OG.
And you were boxing at that time?
Yeah, that was freshman year.
That was freshman year.
So
yeah.
I kind of am just doing an
Did you
evolved
join
version
boxing
of
the
what I
moment
was doing
you
before.
came to?
Pretty much.
USC.
When I was a freshman, fall of freshman year.
Was that a thought before college?
A little bit,
Uh-huh.
but I didn't know the extent to which college had combat sports. So it wasn't like I was going into college thinking about that, but once I saw it, I was like, this could be sick. Yeah, and I tried out.
Made the team, first try?
Kind of. Because what happened at the time was there were two versions of the competitive team. You try out and then you get on the competitive team. And me and my friend, me and two other people, we got on what's called purgatory. So like they saw potential in us, but we weren't good enough at the time. So they're like, you can come to the practices, whatever, because we were dedicated, like us three. I went to every single run. There were like 6 or 7 runs, early morning runs, that in the 2 weeks of tryouts, I went to every single one. I was there, I was motivated, but I was bad, like bad at boxing. But they were like, yeah, you can come to the practices, but you won't be able to compete, anything like that. And I was overjoyed. And then at the end of that semester, they saw that I was committed, and then they let me onto the team officially.
Interesting. So I do want to ask a little bit about your health journey, because along with the content journey, the health journey is really tied into it, because well, your channel is very focused on boxing and health and obviously the brand, but we'll talk about that a little later. So what were some of your learnings and discoveries with that path, the
With health?
path? Yeah.
Yeah, I've always been interested in health because I think fitness and health go hand in hand. They're kind of one and the same. Like people work out to be healthier a lot of times. And so when I was going to the gym, I was always thinking about that, like calories. I was thinking a lot about calories, protein, grams of protein, etc.
And would you say this is something that was natural to you, that you always had done?
Yeah. I remember in high school, I had a bag of walnuts, and this girl was like, why can't you just eat like normal snacks? I have this distinct memory. I think it was like a freshman or sophomore. I was just eating walnuts. I would take them in my bag, like walnuts and slices of turkey in my backpack.
Okay. That's always been your habit, to eat healthy snacks?
Yeah, I think it comes from my parents, because they, yeah, they're pretty healthy people, and like that was a lot of their thing. Like they didn't want me to wear any polyester when I was a kid. So there's always been like a little bit of that.
What's a polyester again?
It's like a fabric.
Oh.
So they wouldn't give me any like underwear that had bad fabric, like only like wool and cotton.
You're saying it like it's so common knowledge,
Is that
but I had
not?
never heard
Really?
about that term. Maybe it's because I'm from China.
Yeah, it could
If you
be.
say the Chinese term, I might know it, but
Yeah,
I don't think that's average knowledge.
Yeah, my parents, they were about health. So
Okay.
it's a blessing.
So you've always kind of cared about health.
Yeah.
And when boxing, you started taking boxing seriously, you just basically took it to another level, right?
Sort of, but they don't actually go that hand in hand.
Really?
When I started taking health really seriously was I came back from boxing, because I was actually pretty bad when I boxed. Like not like horribly, but when you box, like, you know, you're sparring and you're doing all this stuff and you feel sort of like you're entitled to eat whatever you want. And so it can be bad food, a lot of carbs and stuff. But when I went back over break, I binged this guy on YouTube. His name's Godis, and he's like a reactionary video guy, really weird dude, like really strange guy, controversial guy. But I would just watch all his videos. I was addicted. Literally the whole day, I just watch him and like gaming videos. Because I didn't have anything to do, and that sent me down like a crazy rabbit hole. Because he talks a lot about raw meat. I was like, whoa, like this is crazy.
Wait, when you say he's controversial in what kind of way? He'd say wild stuff, or he would make a lot of opinionated claims, or what would he do?
Yeah, he definitely makes opinionated claims, but that's not really the worst part. He's kind of just like he's a reactionary guy, and he like looks down on everybody, and so his content is a little bit toxic like that. There's also like a couple of documentaries about like really a lot worse stuff he did, like how he treats people, and also like how he tried to like Molotov cocktail his wife and his son. Like,
Really?
he's very, very controversial. And so always when I was watching him, I had in my mind, I was like, is this really the path I want to go down? Like, all this health knowledge is very interesting, and it's very, it feels very true. But actually, that's not where it started, now that I think about it, because before that, I was getting into carnivore. Like, I was looking into like carnivore, which is just eating meat. And then I found that guy, which was raw meat, my transition to raw meat. Yeah.
What got you into the carnivore diet?
Yeah, I actually don't know. I think it was
Did
just.
you see some fighters do it, or?
There was one fighter, but I think that was just the natural progression of my YouTube rabbit hole. Like I remember for a while following people like Brian Johnson. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, of course.
So I'd watch
The
a lot
most expensive, or how does he frame himself? The most researched human
personal
body.
life, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of him, and then with those videos, there's just videos down here of like carnivore, because Brian Johnson's a vegan, so it was like carnivore reacts to vegan. I'd watch all this stuff. I just kept going down this rabbit hole.
So you just went to a polar opposite.
Yeah, because I like to see how they interact, like if this group looks at this group, what do they say, and how do they react to these videos? Because I was like, I'll side with whichever group seems like they have more evidence behind their claims, or like they can elucidate more when they watch another video, like a reactionary video. So I was on like a binge of reactionary content. That's how I found Godis.
Ah, that's fascinating. Have you ever tried vegan diet yourself?
No, thankfully.
Okay, for vegans out there.
There's a
Why?
lot. There's
Why? Why wouldn't you go vegan?
Why wouldn't I go vegan? I guess scientifically, because the vegan diet lacks a lot that we need. B vitamins specifically, you can't really get them from plant sources. And then things like saturated fat, cholesterol. When I was going deep down the rabbit hole, I started to realize that like a lot of these things that in society are very demonized are actually not bad at all. And the reason that we find them to be, like culturally we view them in that way, is for like a couple reasons, but mainly it's because like these large companies fund studies, associative studies, so not like, because when you're talking about nutrition, it's hard to make a study that is like of the top tier, which would be a randomly controlled trial, because to do that you have to like lock humans in a thing and fix everything. It's unethical. And so what they do is they get these associative studies, like, oh, if you eat more ice cream, like when the sun's out, you eat more ice cream, but also people who eat more ice cream go to the moon.
People who eat more ice cream tend to be slightly less athletic because they train less. Would that
more
be a
so
correlation?
like the year people with the name Nick were born, 1999, is the same year that like there were like more houses built in that year. And so the association would be like, every year with more people named Nick born, there'll be more houses built. And so it's that sort of association that they draw they like correlate the two. And so there's a lot of studies like that, because the thing about science is that you can kind of finagle it. You can kind of interpret it however you want and get whatever you want out of it. And so these
Right.
companies, they pay for these studies,
Uh-huh.
and then they push those studies because they have a lot of money,
Uh-huh.
and then that just becomes cultural consensus. Cholesterol's bad, this and that, you know? Like, you should eat vegetables, are really healthy.
Because one thing that I could think as a possibility is, say, the idea of vegan diets is really heavily pushed in 2010s probably.
Yeah.
And during those times, the medical fields had significant advancements because of technological advancements. So the case could be, well, vegans are healthier because if we compare the average lifespan of these vegans, which only came around in 2010s when the health industry is getting better, compare them to people in 1970s who aren't
we
vegan.
live so much longer today. Like,
Yeah,
vegans live so
which
much
makes
longer.
no sense because they're just drawing out of other unrelated factors and are making a case for this. That could certainly
Yeah.
be a possibility. Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Perspective. That's a good perspective.
It
Okay,
is.
but back to what you were saying about vegan diet. So you're saying that it lacks certain resources. What else would it?
Yeah, it lacks certain resources.
Like minerals.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, like a lot of scientific stuff, like something called the Randall cycle, which is a cycle that's upregulated when you consume carbs and fat together. And so, like, basically the argument in the carnivore community is like, you want to consume a diet that's either all protein and carbs or all protein and fat, because if you consume both, it upregulates the cycle, which is pretty bad. And so they're like, oh, like vegans have it right, like you're only supposed to consume one. But then they explain that, like, oh, like you need fat for your hormones, all this other stuff. And then
So
there's a
is
lot
the
of things,
combination something that's real, or that's just a fabricated study?
It's real. It's real.
So you shouldn't eat protein and carbs together?
I'm not totally convinced. I'm not totally convinced. It's
But this is a study.
No, it's not a study. It's like a mechanism in the body that when you consume both together, yeah, I'm not totally convinced. But there's a lot of reasons.
That's every single meal for every single person.
Pretty much for everybody, yeah. It's pretty interesting.
I mean, if we think about what did the cavemen do? I guess you do have a point. They do eat things separately.
Because what they would do is they'd kill a
Kill a cow.
mammoth or whatever. You eat the protein and the fat, because you can use either fat or carbs as energy, right?
Right.
Or they'd like find berries and like maybe some root vegetables or something. They'd eat that if they didn't have enough meat. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
But they'd eat separate meals?
Likely. I mean, like, there's a lot of people who are really researched. Take my word with a grain of salt, because I wouldn't say I'm like necessarily a gospel for this information, you know? But
I mean, you are probably deeper into this rabbit hole than
most people.
95%, well, no, 99% of people.
Yeah,
probably.
it is true. I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, well, I'm really deep in.
Okay, yeah, because you ended up getting to a phase where you're drinking raw milk.
Yeah.
First of all, why raw milk? And because one of your videos got super controversial when you posted how you travel like 2 hours to get raw milk.
Yeah, I posted a video that was like, just rode 2 hours on the bus and paid $18 for some milk. Health is so funny. That one got a lot of hate. But I realized in hindsight, like, the reason that video got a lot of hate too is because it was like pretty condescending. Like, it was like, oh, I know about health and this and that. I don't really hold that view anymore. Like, now I kind of just say that I'm experimenting on myself and I do what feels best for me. Because I've also noticed that, like, when you try to tell people things, especially things that are out of the norm, like, they're gonna reject it. And like Tim said yesterday, finders keepers. Like, if you want to implement something into your life, you have to find it for yourself. So I just put myself out in the world as like, this is what I do. And if that interests somebody and they want to do research on it, I can give them resources. And then hopefully they feel healthier and better because of it.
Okay, then say I'm very interested, invested. Let's go with all your experiments and what you figure out about yourself. So first, milk, how did that go?
I don't think my body does well with milk.
Do you think you're lactose intolerant?
No, I can tolerate milk, but it gives me really quite bad acne.
Uh,
The reason I drink it raw is for a couple reasons, but the main one is that there's certain enzymes in milk that break down the sugar. So the sugar is